Hello there folks, back again for another video. In this one, I wanted to talk about something that didn't necessarily make as massive a wave as the announcement of the Auric War Clans and the Gloomspite Gits for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the Mortal Realms. And that is the fact that we're going to be getting a brand new Path to Glory book called Ravaged Coast. So this was kind of tacked on at the end of the segment about Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but they did talk a little bit more about it as part of the live stream and go into a little bit more detail about what's included as part of this book. So if you are interested in the narrative side of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, maybe have a listen, see what you think. Effectively, Ravaged Coast is going to be a brand new book that will come out and allow you to add to and develop your narrative campaigns, your Path to Glory campaigns in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, alongside a narrative that fits within the scope of the ongoing events in the Mortal Realms at the moment. So what they did talk about is that currently the Path to Glory campaign is going to be focusing around this particular area of the Mortal Realms, which will be familiar to a lot of people when it comes to the current Skaven blight that has affected the lands. A lot of it will be around this sort of coastal area that you can see here, and the Hell's Claw, which was a Chaos City, then a Order City, and has now fallen to the forces of the Skaven, as you would have seen when you've been playing through the campaigns and stuff around Hell's Crown and Hell's Claw and stuff. And also, obviously, Emberguard plays a massive part of this as well. It's where the new edition of Warhammer Underworlds is set, and is currently a hotbed of activity for a variety of different factions battling it out in that sort of element of the adamantine chain. But yeah, so effectively you'll be able to dive into campaigns that will tell stories based around the Ravaged Coast and sort of chart your adventures as you go through different elements of that campaign. Build up your forces, give them new abilities as you gain experience from battle to battle, and play through what I would imagine is probably going to be a set of new narratively based campaign missions that will be sort of focused on sort of your Path to Glory. Now, the Path to Glory book that we currently have is part of the core rulebook, so it's at the very back of that at the moment. It's a nice sort of update to the way that Path to Glory has worked in the past, but it's very simple, very quick and easy to get stuck into. The actual development of armies and the building up of armies maybe takes a little bit longer than I would have liked, probably, but it certainly is one that's pretty good for those people who want to dive into sort of the narrative side of Age of Sigmar and tell stories that aren't necessarily tied to the idea of the match play format and all that kind of thing. So it does give you some freedom on that front, and obviously means that you can create fascinating and interesting characters. If you want to see a little bit about kind of how Path to Glory works, I have got a video where I looked through the Anvil of Apotheosis rules. So the Anvil of Apotheosis rules for Path to Glory allow you to make certain characters to go into your armies, and they are separate from the war scrolls that you would normally get in the classic faction packs or the battle tomes, and they are very much personalized characters. Now, currently there is only Anvils of Apotheosis rules for making heroes for Stormcast Eternals and Skaven. There will obviously be more specific rules for those people who are going to make Slaves to Darkness heroes very, very soon, and you can kind of see that demonstrated here with the Marauders there battling out on the cover against the Stormcast Eternals and that new Lord Celestant. But they have said that this new Path to Glory book will come with rules in there for a sort of like a more general Anvil of Apotheosis for making a more generalized hero, and hopefully that means that we're going to get a whole bunch of additional tables for building up interesting characters rather than just having to rely on the ones from the main rulebook. So that'll be really interesting, and it means that those people who don't already have their battle tomes with more specific Anvil of Apotheosis rules will have a more general set for them to work off, which is always good to see. But even if you're going to be playing the Gloomspite Gits or the Auric War Clans next year, it's always nice to have something a little bit of ahead of time. Fingers crossed this comes out sooner rather than later. That would be quite good. The other thing, as I was saying before, is I genuinely think we're going to see a series of linked scenarios and campaign missions to play through that will take you up the coast and sort of deeper into Hell's Crown perhaps as well. That could be quite cool. I'd assume it's all going to be playing around here and sort of like this particular area of the map, since that's what the book is named after. And I would hopefully like to see them do something where you have a series of linked battles where the events of one scenario will affect what happens in the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. I think that would be a really interesting way for them to go. And maybe they'll make it so that there'll be lots of options for just 2 players who are diving into Path to Glory, or maybe for a larger group. Maybe you can do something where you could link everything together in that format as well. That could be quite interesting. Also, of course, it'd be nice to see very particular sets of paths for you to take. So currently you have the path of like the warrior, the priest, the wizard, etc., and that gives you additional abilities as you go up through the different levels, starting with aspiring and going on through to legendary and all that kind of thing. But even just to see if they do sort of more specific ones tied to this particular area, so maybe slightly more maraudery based stuff, could be quite interesting. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk over the fact that Path to Glory is a legitimately awesome, cool way to play Warhammer Age of Sigmar. It's really good for those people who want to dive into the slightly more narrative side of things in the game, and it's really awesome to see that we're going to be getting a full supplement for this sooner rather than later, for people to dive into and have some fun with. As I said, it kind of flew under the radar, I think, as part of the live stream, because I think a lot of people are very focused on the idea of match play and that kind of thing, which is a real shame, obviously. But yeah, if you're a bit of a Path to Glory fan, a bit of a narrative fan, let me know your thoughts on Ravaged Coast. Did you like what they had to say about the book and where they were taking things? Do you like the idea of diving in and getting your hands on an Anvil of Apotheosis to start playing through? And yeah, what do you hope will come out of the Ravaged Coast and this sort of like current storyline within Warhammer Age of Sigmar? I will say, I think it's one of the real strengths of the Mortal Realms and Warhammer Age of Sigmar is that they have definitely latched onto the idea of ongoing narratives, developing stories, a world that can sort of mutate and change based on what the designers and the storytellers want. I think Warhammer 40,000 has felt itself feeling very stagnated, especially in the newest edition, in 10th edition. And not a lot has massively happened or changed to make 10th edition engaging, at least not at the moment. I mean, we might see more of that as the Dawn of Fire series comes to an end. But I think that Age of Sigmar really is kind of like an intense and ever-changing narrative and story, and it's just developing over time massively with loads of fun ways for you to take your games. Also, Anvils of the Hell and Hammer on the cover. Thumbs up for that. You can't see that, but thumbs up for that because they are awesome. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you like the look of a new Path to Glory book? What do you think will happen as part of Ravaged Coast? Where do you think they'll take it? What do you think they'll do? Do you have any ideas from previous Path to Glory entries that you think could be carried over? Do you think we're going to start seeing the idea of settlements and that kind of thing returning into the mix, fortifications and the like, or do you think they'll try and make it as easy and quick to dive into and play through without too much paperwork? Less paperwork is always good, even in a narrative campaign, but there we go. Yeah, dive into the comments, let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll be back with another video very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.